before we start, there is one question that constantly plagues every student's mind. It is in your mind. What is that question? Mister, you wrote this title, answering a reading passage without reading, okay? How can I answer a reading passage without reading it? You might ask yourself, is Mr. Ahmed Khalifa exaggerating? Let me first clear the air here. عشان الناس, I don't want to be misunderstood. The strategy we will be doing together today mostly fits those who run out of time. You are in the exam and you are required to do 5 passages, and you come to the 3rd passage and you say, teacher, I ran out of time. What I'm supposed to be doing right now, okay? So this strategy would be the best fit. So if you are running out of time, okay, you can, out of like 5 passages, you can do 2 passages using this strategy, okay? It will also help those students who feel bored to tears when they start the reading section. I mean, many students, I have experienced that in all my career, okay? They feel bored when they start the reading, like after the 2nd or 3rd passage, they feel bored. Teacher, we don't have any interest to complete. So I think this strategy will help them a lot. You have to admit, all of you, I'm trying to slow down the pace of explaining so everybody's here. We can admit that reading comprehension questions are a tricky ball game. It's quite tricky, many questions. Am I right? Who answers? Okay. Reading complete passages can be sometimes, and I say sometimes, okay, Omar said yes, and I say sometimes, reading complete passages can be time consuming and energy sapping. You want to, Yarania, you want to save your time and you want to save your effort, but I cannot, as a teacher, I cannot apply it to the whole section, to the whole critical reading section. That's impossible. So what I mean, if we agree together, Ya Omar, Ya Kenzi, everyone, Silwan, if we agree together in reading complete passages can be time consuming, energy consuming, so we are on the same track. But let me tell you this, in order not to be misunderstood. I said you can apply it, you can use it with 1 or 2 passages in the whole section. Those who have the ability to read the entire passage, I used to have students like that, and I still have students like that. They can read the whole passage within the time limit. They have got no problem, okay? Or even those who can read greater portion of the passage, greater portions of the passage, they can read most of the passage, okay? They will definitely do a terrific job. But again, let me be down to earth. Today, I'm gonna put myself in your shoes, okay? Let me be quite practical. Some of my students decide to read most of the passage and still they have many mistakes. Do you agree with me or no? I'm gonna open the chat screen. Do you agree with me or no? Okay, perfect. Almost all of you. And you say, teacher, I wasted the time and I still don't understand. And you tell yourself, what can I do about it? I will never, that's for sure. If you are grade 11 or grade 12, I'm not going to ask you, go and study vocab, go and read books. I mean, that's, again, quite nonsensical. You got the point? That's why today I'm going to spill the beans about my so-called strategy. إلا أنا بدعي إنها my strategy. Just kidding. Sure, some other good teachers told you about it before. Now, I need to ask a question. May I ask a question here? May I? Why do we need to read the whole passage? Who can answer me? To understand each part of the passage, to know the main idea, to get the full idea. Thank you. If you want to get a perfect mark, then read it all. Lana Goma. Okay, okay. Okay, perfect. You are in the same area. But the point is, why do we call it critical? Critical, it sounds like math. You got the point? Again, I don't want to be misunderstood. Mr. Ahmed said don't read the passages. No, I didn't say that. But again, there is a method, a strategy that we could apply. Okay? It would save time and you will do all the questions, that's for sure. Okay? But those who said the big picture, those who said the main idea, maybe something is hidden, they are correct. I have no problem with that. Okay? But the point is, we do this, if you are a practical candidate, you do it in order to answer the general questions included in the passage. Type. Who can tell me what is the number of general questions in each passage? I mean, what general questions? Main idea, central claim, main purpose, main claim, 1 or 2. Thank you very much. You said it. Perfect. Very rarely 3. So if it is 3, let us be again down to earth. So 7 out of 10, 8 out of 11. You understand my point, right? Which is, by the way, a very good score. If you could get it, that's a very good score. What I'm trying here to say, in order to cut it to the chase, and for the sake of time and effort, we definitely can answer an entire reading passage without reading the passage itself that much. Okay? Teacher, you talk that much, okay? We need something for real. These points that I'm gonna list right now summarize my method of answering the reading passage without reading much. Okay? Let us write this down. How to answer a passage without reading much. That's the question. And my answer, number 1, read the blurb. You know, all of you know about it, okay? And underline the main idea or the part that you feel important. The important part. Forget about the main idea if it is not included that much. Or the important part. That's 1. Okay. 2. What else, teacher? Read the introduction if it is short. If it is short. Okay? Or read the first or the first 2 sentences. Let us say the first 2 sentences. 2 sentences. Apply fast reading in the middle. The blurb, the italicized part in the beginning of the passage. Italicized part in the beginning of the passage. Apply fast reading in the middle. And lastly, and the last what? And the last sentence if the paragraph is long. Okay? That's it. Number 3. Review the 10 or 11 questions and mark the one or two answer choices. Okay, so let us say preview the questions. Again, we need to exclude the general questions. Teacher, how can you do this? Let us do it for real. Okay, here in a passage like that one, somebody asked me now, where is the blurb? By the way, and I chose maybe the wrong passage, there is no blurb here, but the blurb is going to be here, written here, okay? With the author and part of the main idea maybe, okay? And then, if the introduction is short, read it all. If it is long, the first two sentences or the first sentence and the last sentence, okay? For me, this is a short introduction. Let us read the introduction, but before those who are asking me how to preview the questions, okay? We can go to question number 11 here. The main purpose of the passage is to, I'm gonna skip it for the time being. The author's tone is best described as that of. We're gonna talk about it later. Then, the second paragraph primarily serves to. I have to do it, okay? And as used in line, explosion, vocabulary in context, I have to do it. The main rhetorical effect, 52 to 51 or 50 to 52, I have to do it. Based on the passage, which choice best describes, this is P1, P2, I have to do it, okay? And then 18, vocabulary, I have to do it. Then 19, the passage most strongly, that's P1, P2, I have to do it. And then at the end, that's infographics, I'm gonna do it as well, okay? Muhammad, okay. Do we start by P1, P2? No. I'm gonna tell you now. I mean, by the way, this is not what I meant by my method today, okay? And I'm gonna tell you why right away. Remember this, ya shabab. Remember this, and I'm gonna write it down for people to remember. Let the questions guide you, not the passage. Remember this. Let the questions guide you, not the passage. How, teacher? Remember, you are not a robot. Mister, what does it mean? Remember, you are not a robot. You are not a robot, but you are a human being. What do I mean by this? Don't fall in the trap. Don't fall in the trap of, I call it what, ya shabab? Do easy questions first. That's how I coined it. Teacher, what does that mean? Those people who go for simple questions first, those people who go to the line reference question first and say what? These are the questions that we should do. Again, you are not a robot. You won't be able to make connections. So what's going to be missing here? Connections will be missing. And that connections simply would lead you to what, ya shabab? To the main idea or the big picture, as he said, of the whole passage. Okay? So teacher, you just want us to exclude the general questions and then do the questions one by one, chronologically, like question 1, 2, 3? Yes, that's what I want you to do. That's what I want you to do, exactly, okay? Remember, ya shabab, those people who go to the passage and you say what? Teacher, it is full of difficult words. Remember, all the vocabulary is contextual. And we're gonna come to it right now. I mean what? Having strong vocabulary is okay, is good, is terrific. However, having Shakespearean vocabulary will not prevent you from what? Answering the passage. Okay, in order not to waste the time here, ya shabab, let us go to the first paragraph, which is what? The introduction. Again, I'm supposed to have what here يا شباب, but by mistake here there should be what? There should be blurb. The blurb is missing in that passage, okay? Because this is not a real test, because I'm not allowed to work on real test because of the copyright. خلاص؟ طيب. I read the blurb, I underlined it, and I found that this paragraph is short. Let us read together and understand. And I won't say meanings. What is the blurb? Blurb, I'll tell you, yeah, Ahmed, in the other passage, okay? This part, yeah, Ahmed, this is the blurb. The passage is adapted from whatever source it is and written by who, that's we call it what? The blurb, okay? That blurb, I should have added it here, but for a reason or another, I mean, it's not here. Forgive me, okay? So I'm going to read, and I'm not going to affect your understanding by saying what? By saying the difficult words, okay? Whenever you read, and the part in this method, in this strategy, ya shabab, the best thing to do is to underline the parts that you're going to read. Human beings are in the process of dramatically reshaping the Earth's ecosystems. So we as human beings, we are in the process, we're going to reshape, we're going to change the shape of the Earth's ecosystems. As far back as the 19th century, some scientists have noted that the current era is defined mainly by the what? The impact of human activity. Remember this. Those scientists, they described this era, this period of time, by what? By the impact of human activity, by the effect, the influence of human activity. Now, there is an emerging consensus, but I need to say the word consensus means what? Agreement. There is an emerging agreement among Earth's scientists that we have indeed entered a new period of geological time, the Anthropocene epoch. Okay? And that's it. That's the first what? That's the first paragraph. So the main idea of the first paragraph, the scientists noted that this current era is characterized by what? Characterized by the impact of human what? The impact of human activity. Okay? And that human beings, human activity, human beings are in the process of reshaping. They are going to shape again. Okay? They change the shape of what? Of the whole ecosystem. Okay? And that's, for me, it's more than enough. Okay? Teacher, what else should I do? Nothing. You should do nothing. Let us go to the questions and do it one by one. Okay? As I said, the main purpose of the passage, I'm not going to do it now because the passage after all in the middle or near the end maybe would change direction, so I cannot take the responsibility and say what? I'm going to do the main purpose here. Mister, do I have to do the tone is best described as that of, and I'm going to tell you in order to answer question of the tone and attitude of the author, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. But I'm going to leave it for the time being. But somebody say, teacher, can I leave question number 13 and go to question number 14? No. You will never be able to make connections. Connection that would help you to go to the what? To reach the main idea. I'm going to do it now. The second paragraph primarily serves to. And when I say serves to, simply this is what? Purpose. Purpose question, ya Karim. The second paragraph. So do I need to read the second paragraph? Yes. So if you do it the other way around, you will find yourself by the end of the passage that you have read it. Okay. Let us go to the second paragraph. But mister, and I need the purpose of what? Of the second paragraph. The purpose of what? Of the second paragraph. Do I have to read it all? I will never say read it all if it is long. And for me here, the second paragraph is long. So what you need to do is that if you are asked about the purpose, includes the word serves to or the main idea or theme of the whole paragraph, you still need to read the entire paragraph. But if the paragraph is long, mister, I'm going to waste time. يبقى حبيبي, what you need to do, read the first two sentences and the last sentence, it will be fine. it will be fine. Okay, let us do it this way. I'm going to read the first two sentences and do some kind of fast reading in the middle and go to the last sentence. Though Earth scientists debate exactly when the Anthropocene began, and the Anthropocene, of course, you know, it is a kind of what? It's a kind of epoch, kind of a period in history, okay? There is a clear consensus, and we talk today about consensus means what? Means agreement. Remember that word. Always in scientific passages. That human changes to the environment are real and extreme. Humans' changes to the environment are real and extreme. Let us just go here, try to skim and scan, okay? Is there any something important here? It sounds like all details, okay? Right. Let us start reading from here. Let us start reading from here. Indeed, many large animals, like elephants and gorillas, are endangered for the same reasons today. What are the same reasons? I might decide to go a bit earlier here, and I start from here. Their sudden disappearance, the animals' sudden disappearance suggests that habitat destruction and overhunting by humans may have contributed to their demise, to their death. So all has to do with what? With the great effect human beings' activities on what, ya shabab? On the ecosystem, okay? We have read this. Can we answer the question? Let us start. The second paragraph primarily serves to explain how scientists divide geological time, okay? Provide a broad description of the Earth's history, describe the origin of the majority of the Earth's biodiversity, compare the current geological epoch to the Cambrian one. Of course, not this one, right? Okay? Not describe the origin of the majority of the Earth's biodiversity. No. And also, explain how scientists divide geological, we just can keep this for the time being, provide a broad description of the Earth's history. Did this paragraph provide a description of the Earth's history? And you say, teacher, but I didn't read this as well. So in that case, if you are definitely sure that B is wrong and C is wrong and D is wrong, so let us go for A and do it again. Maybe something in the middle. I found out this is the second paragraph as well.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I found out that this is the second paragraph. I'm sorry. Scientists who study the history of the Earth usually divide geological time. That's very clear here, Ibn. That's dividing the geological time. So again, we have to go for what? We have to go for A, right?
Yes.
So scientists who study the history of the Earth usually divide geological time according to major changes to biology and climate of the Earth. For instance, the ancient Cambrian period, some 500 years ago, is distinguished by a sudden explosion in the diversity of life. A sudden, what do you think? A sudden explosion in the diversity of life. Who said outburst? Outburst, by the way, it means explosion. Let us try here, يبني growth. تاني, let us read it. For instance, the ancient Cambrian, thank you very much. The ancient Cambrian period, some 500 years ago, is distinguished by a sudden growth in the diversity of life. Including what? If you want to make sure about it, اللي قال لي outburst. Complete. Including the emergence, the appearance of the ancestors of many modern species. You got it? So here in that case, mean explosion means what? Means growth. So how do you know it's growth?
That's what I mean, C.
Yes, C, that's fine, okay? So we have to go for what? C, because of what? Including the emergence of the ancestors. Emergence means what? The appearing. So here I'm talking about what? C. Thank you. Then let us go to question number 15. Mister, do you support the method of reading the introduction and 1 and 2 sentences of each paragraph? Believe me, of course, that's a method. But believe me, you will come back to it. Look at this one. We have read the first part of the paragraph because we are dealing with what? With the vocabulary questions. What difference does it make? فانت you are going to read the first sentence in the second paragraph, or even the last sentence, or even the middle, according to what? According to the question that would guide you. You got my point, okay? Mister, I'm using this strategy in all passages. I mean, if it works with you, that will be fine. The rhetorical effect. The rhetorical effect. Somebody asked me on the WhatsApp, teacher, is there a way? Don't worry about the answer now. Don't worry about the answer now. We're talking about the concept more than the answer. Mister, is there a way that we can answer the passage quickly without reading that much? Yeah, this is the way. But again, the explanation is elaborate, I know. It's detailed. What's rhetoric? اللي out of rhetorical. What does it mean? Okay, this is very important for people to know. Rhetorical effect. In other words, you might see it as what? As it could be stylistic effect. And as I said, it's out of what? Of the noun rhetoric, not rhetoric, okay? Rhetoric. What does that mean? I want people to write here the meaning. The art of finding the available mean of persuasion. اكتبوا عليها بالعربي فن إيجاد وسيلة للإقناع. Writers always do this. Sometimes they tend to persuade us so as to what? To support their points. Many writers use rhetorical devices or rhetorical effects, whatever. Number one, to persuade, sometimes to amuse us, if it is a sort of light-hearted sort of passage. طيب, what are the most commonly tested rhetorical effects or devices in the SAT? Okay. Number one, maybe you have heard about this. What, teacher? Rhetorical questions. Mister, can you give us an example about rhetorical question? I can give you this example. I might say, or a writer might say, are you fed up with all the arguments you've heard or you have heard about TV? That's a rhetorical question, and it acts as a rhetorical effect. Why the author is using it, okay? Some other rhetorical effects, hopefully you are aware of. We have number one, alliteration. So when we repeat the initial consonant sound, okay? Then we have allusion. Allusion, that's reference to literature, reference to a character, reference to a place, reference to an event. And of course, you remember this, those who are with me in Abu Dhabi, okay? It was a real Cinderella story. If I said Silwan in the beginning of the trimester, she didn't do well, but at the end of the trimester, she has improved in leaps and bounds. تحسنت كتير قوي, ها? فواحد تاني يقول it was a real Cinderella story. Why you are mentioning Cinderella here? In order to emphasize a meaning, to support the meaning that you are trying to what to tell. We have also, يا شباب, exaggeration. We have metaphor. We have, of course, simile. We have metaphor. We have analogy, means comparison. Okay? When I say comparison, I mean as severe as or as extreme as. simile, as or like, metaphor, a comparison between two things, okay? We know this, right? We know this. Sometimes parallelism. Sometimes parallelism. What does it mean, parallelism, teacher? When I say parallelism, something like like father, like son. That's parallelism, okay? Why did the author use it? So again, ya shabab, what is rhetoric? The art of finding or the art of persuasion, فن الإقناع. What are the rhetorical devices that we have or that we might face in the exam? It could be alliteration, it could be allusion, it could be simile, it could be metaphor, it could be analogy, and it could be parallelism as well. Hyperbole, yes, that's it, hyperbole, okay? And for those people who said, teacher, we don't know what's going on in the passage. Teacher, we don't know the main idea in the passage. But remember, this question number 15, it is a line reference question. The main rhetorical effect of lines 50 to 52. This ongoing till ago is to what? What is the main rhetorical effect here? What is the main rhetorical effect here? Let us go to 50 to 52. Somebody might say, teacher, but do I have to start from here? That's fine. You still can start from here. This ongoing rapid loss of species or species, okay? This quick loss of species has been described as mass extinction, as severe as the event that wiped out the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Who can tell me, where is the rhetorical effect here? Where is the rhetorical effect here? As severe as. That's analogy. And even if you are going to go for, Mister, is it simile? I don't mind that much. But that's an analogy. As flaky as severe as extreme as, that's an analogy. Mister, why did he use it here? Let us read it again. This ongoing rapid loss of species. Remember, we're talking about what in the beginning here? And that's the connection that you have to do. And we were talking about the human beings and the human activity that caused what, ya binti, the disappearance of, or the reshaping of the Earth's ecosystem, right? And animals and stuff. This is what I understand. I understand nothing else. Okay, and here, the ongoing rapid loss of species has been described as mass extinction as severe as the event that wiped out the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. A. Suggests that the dinosaurs did not become extinct due to natural causes? Do you think this is the answer? No. B. Make clear the extreme nature of the current extinction event. Forget about B for the time being. Imply, suggest that humans themselves are now in danger of extinction? No. Emphasize humanity's connection to earlier forms of life on Earth? Of course, no. طيب, let us read this, ya Ahmed Asab. And this is the answer, of course, because this is the only one left. Make clear the extreme nature of the current extinction event. What is the current extinction event, ya Ahmed, ya Sabir? It's here. This ongoing, and I want people to write, ongoing means what? Current, continuous, now. Rapid loss of species has been described as mass extinction. That mass extinction as severe as the event that wiped, a past event that wiped what? Dinosaurs 65 million years ago. So I think B is the best fit. Make clear the extreme nature of the current extinction what? Event. So why did he use the analogy? In order to make clear about the current or the extreme nature of the current what? Extinction. Hopefully you understand. Question number what? 16 and 17. Question after question, we come to know that the passage is a bit manageable. I will never say easy, but it's a bit manageable. Teacher, and I don't know anything about the passage. There are some students who can start with P1 because they understand the main idea or the big picture of the passage, but others, they don't understand it, okay? So what you need to do, you need to go for what? P2 first, but you need to start reading the question here. Based on the passage, which choice best describes the relationship between carbon dioxide and I-scores? Okay? And let us read the question thoroughly. Based on the passage, which choice best describes the relationship between carbon dioxide and I-scores? خلاص? And for me, what I'm gonna do, ya shabab, simple. I'm gonna go to lines what, ya shabab? 60 to 62. And I'll try to find the relationship between carbon dioxide and I-scores. Who's gonna go to 60 and 62? Some byproducts of the use of the fuels like carbon dioxide are greenhouse gases that trap solar energy on Earth. To assess the impact, this is the rest of 62, we need to read it, of greenhouse gases on Earth. Here, no. There is no relationship between carbon dioxide and I-scores. Thank you. So now I'm talking to somebody who knows nothing about the passage, only little, okay? So this is no. B, 64 to 67. And let us read 64 to what? To 67. Remember, here we talked about what? The carbon dioxide, right? Here we talked about what? The carbon dioxide. Ice cores, samples of ice layers. So what are the ice cores? Samples of ice layers that have trapped atmospheric chemicals over time, have supplied scientists with millennia of year-by-year information about greenhouse gases, gas concentrations, and atmospheric what? And atmospheric temperature. Remember, ya Yusuf, احنا in this part we talked about what? Carbon dioxide, which is what? Greenhouse gas. And here, let us read here again. Relationship between carbon dioxide and ice cores. Ice core sample of ice layers that have trapped atmospheric chemicals over time have supplied scientists with millennia of year-by-year information about greenhouse gas. What is the greenhouse gas? The carbon dioxide. Concentrations and atmospheric what? Temperatures. So let us read the question. Based on the passage, which choice best describes the relationship between carbon dioxide and ice core gas? And I think I'll go for what? This one. But let me be sure about it. Yes, Ilwan, and I say, teacher, should I go for 73 to 76? Yes, you should go for this one because you haven't read the passage. You don't know exactly whether it is there or no. Okay, 73, and I think if you read 73 to Kami ya Shabab, 73 to 76, of course, it's not here, and even 82 to 84, it's not here. So I am on the right track. So it is what? It is B. Carbon dioxide destroys ice cores? No mention. Ice cores remove carbon dioxide? Remove? No mention. Carbon dioxide is extracted from ice cores and used for fuel industry processes? No way, and it's not extracted. Of course, we have to go for what? D. Ice cores can be studied to track changes. Mister, how can you find to track changes in the passage in the atmospheric carbon dioxide? So to track changes, another way of saying to track changes, ya shabab, look at this one, have supplied scientists with millennia of year-by-year information. Of course, track what? Changes. That's if you provide information, it means what? You track changes year by year. Changes means year by year. Let us go, ya minna, to question number 18. Till now, ya shabab, and I haven't read the passage. What I have read, maybe the introduction. That's it. And I left the questions to guide me. Let us go for question number 18. As used in line, only the introduction, yes, the blurb and the introduction. And the introduction, if it is what? If it is short, as I said. As used in line 84, mark most nearly means. Let us go to 84. So I might start from here. The consequences of these changes will affect life on Earth for millions of years to come, leaving a mark of human activity that may well outlive humanity itself. Leaving a mark. Leaving a symbol? Leaving a symbol? Is it a symbol? ها ولا leaving what يا شباب? Leaving a trace of human activity that may well outlive humanity itself. You got the point, right? So, teacher, do I have to go for grade? Of course, no. Do I have to go for symbol? No. Is it target? No. Trace. Remember, trace. Who still doesn't understand? Track, exactly. The consequences of these changes will affect life on Earth for millions of years to come, leaving a symbol of human activity, leaving a grade of human activity, leaving a target of human activity, or leaving a trace of human activity. Trace of human activity. Let us go to question number 19. And in question number 19, again, it's P1, P2. Okay? The passage most strongly suggests, may I ask a question here? What is common about the answer choices here? Who can answer me? Who can answer me? What is common about the answer choices here? Who can tell? Inferred. Yasmin, suggest, okay? Of course. We're going to talk about it later. But let me tell you this for people who want to know it, okay? If we have suggest, remember this, write it down. Imply, infer, conclude, hint, and it appeared in one of the exam, insinuate. Means hint. Okay? If they appear, you need to select the paraphrased answer choice. What does mean paraphrased answer choice? It's not similar, very similar to what's in the text. It has to be paraphrased. Different wording, okay? That's about suggest. Is it the word extinct? Okay, perfect. We have here extinct, 1. We have here extinctions, 2. We have here extinctions, 3. And we have here extinction, 4. What else? What else? Here we have, where are we? Currently. Here we have modern, okay? And that's it. So now we got the idea, okay? I haven't read anything. I don't know about the passage here. I don't know where we can find it in the passage because we haven't read it. Okay, so the passage most strongly suggests that. What I need to do, go to question 10 to 14. Do you think 10 to 14, did you find the answer in 10 to 14? Let us say it here. Let us find it here. 10 to 13. Now we have read till this part, but there was no extinction. Do you agree with me or no? No extinction, okay. What about 27 to 30? The fossil record indicates that around that time, many large animals like woolly mammoths and giant sloths went extinct shortly after humans arrived in their what? In their ranges. Okay, if I'm talking about the fossil record indicates that around that time. Around that time, where is that time? I need to go back here. Anthropocene, at the end of the last ice age, around 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago. So, what I need to do here, very quickly, I'm doing now critical reading, okay? So, simply, I'll go for B and I'll go for, and I say no, because here there is currently, and here I have, whatever, 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago. So it's not currently. And if it is not currently, it's not modern. So I'm going to cross this as well. Because of currently, and because of what? And because of modern. You got the point. So still I have A and I have D. Okay. So 27 to 30, no. Let us go to 40 to 44. Scientists have estimated the rate of extinction by studying the fossil record, monitoring existing species, and using statistical models to estimate the number of undiscovered. What does mean undiscovered? يعني undiscovered by humans. Species that have been lost.
Scientists have estimated the rate of extinction by studying the fossil record, monitoring existing species, and using statistical models to estimate the number of undiscovered species that have been lost.
To discover or to estimate the number of undiscovered. Undiscovered by whom? By people. Species that have been lost. Okay? So let us try to find, yes, does it match any of the answers here? Some life forms are going extinct before being discovered by humans. Is it close or no? Yes, of course, yes. Mariam, do you agree with, where are we, Mariam? The answer here is يا بنتي C. 40 to 44. Let us go here to this one. Scientists have estimated the rate of extinction by studying the fossil record, monitoring existing species, and using statistical models. ليه بقى؟ To estimate the number of undiscovered species that have been lost. Look at the answer. Look at the answer. Some life forms are going extinct before being discovered by humans. Let us go to question number 21. The last question here. Based on the information from the passage. What is the information of the passage? You can tell yourself, yeah, about the human activity and how human activity damages or affects whatever the atmosphere and stuff and animals. Okay, that's fine. And the graphic, which of the following statements can reasonably be inferred? A. Birds, look at this one, are less susceptible, less exposed to human-driven extinction than other animals because they can fly to new habitats. What does that mean? إن البيردز أقل عرضة للhuman-driven extinction than other animals. Let us go to the graph. Where is the birds? Are birds less susceptible to human-driven extinction? Of course, no. There is still less than birds. Okay, so no. B. About 20% of all. I want you to what? I want you to circle the word all, and about. That's very important in infographics. About 20% of all assessed species are currently threatened with extinction. Let us go to this one. If I say all, so I'm talking about what? I'm talking about the total. About 20, we are almost there. And here, threatened. Look at this one, threatened. Okay, so in that case, I'll go for what? I'll go for B. Thank you. C. Mammals are the animals most sensitive to humans' impacts on the environment. Mammals are the most sensitive to, where is the mammals? Are the most? No. There is still birds and there is still maybe amphibians more, right? So it is no. And the last one, ya shabab, let me tell you this. And the last one, about 18%, circle about 18% of known insect, and I want people to circle known species have recently gone extinct. And you look at the infographics here, ya shabab, and I haven't, like here in the key of the graph, we don't have any word that looks like extinction or gone extinct, but we have what? We have threatened. Okay, and the other thing, we have got here insects, but are they known insects? They are not known insects. Are they gonna go extinct? No, they are only threatened. You got the point? Yeah, but in that case, I will never go for what? For D. Hopefully you understand. Shabab, how many questions we did without reading even parts of the passage and going to the questions and going back to the passage and doing some kind of needless cycles, we did a lot of questions. If you are asked, ya shabab, about the tone or attitude, remember the part of the introduction that you have read. فاكرين البارت of the introduction that we have read? طيب, what else? طب, what else, mister? Peruse or read carefully the first sentence in 2 or 3 paragraphs. Simply, I'm going to go through what ya banat, ya shabab. I'm going to go through what? The introduction. The introduction. And I read, human beings are in the process of dramatically reshaping the earth. I read the introduction. I come to the first body paragraph here. I read 1 or 2 sentences. Here, 1 or 2 sentences. Though Earth scientists debate exactly when Anthropocene began, there is a clear consensus that human changes to the environment. And then the other paragraph. The pace of human-caused extinction has only increased in the past several hundred years. The growth and spread of human population caused by... What do you think about the tone and attitude of the author here? You got it? How can the tone and the attitude be described here? Okay, is it ya shabab, a dejected defeatist? And you say, teacher, I don't understand. Is it a concerned observer? Rania said B 5 times. Is it a jaded skeptic? Is it an uncertain specialist? And I'll tell myself, even if you don't know the first word, you might know the what? The second word. What do you mean, teacher, by this? When you come to dejected, mister, أنا بصراحة يا mister, and I don't understand the word dejected. What does mean dejected? I'm not going to tell you now about dejected, but I'm going to tell you, do you know the word defeat? Yes, defeat means beat. يهزم. Okay, is it positive or negative? Negative. Do you think that author, that writer, is dejected defeatist? Of course no. Mister, for the sake of knowing the word, what does mean dejected? Means what? Depressed. Sad. In the exam, mister, and I don't know the word. I know the word defeatist, so cross it. The part that I read, the introduction and the first 2 sentences or the first sentence in 2 or 3 body paragraphs, okay? Is he a jaded skeptic? Mister, and I don't know jaded. Don't worry, but you should, as an SAT student, know skeptic means what? Doubtful. Is he doubtful? That's again negative. No. No. Is he is a specialist. Yes, I can say the way he speaks, the way he writes, he's an expert, he's a specialist. But is he uncertain? That's negative. Like, again, uncertain means what? Like doubtful, skeptic, not sure, undecided. No, so I crossed it out. So he is what? He's something positive. He speaks confidently. You understand my point? So it is what? It is B. But again, because, yeah, mister, you explained it to us, so we understand it. But you need to know, ya shabab, which is very important, you need to know what is the tone and attitude. The tone or attitude of the author is his or her feelings about the subject he's writing about. Writers' attitude show clearly in the writing. And readers, we are as readers, we should identify such attitude and tones. And in what way these attitudes or tones affect the meaning of the text. طيب, mister, if you're asked, how can I figure out the author's tone and attitude? Okay, if you want to figure it out, اسأل نفسك السؤال ده. What kinds of words does the author use? The pace of human-caused extinction has only increased. I'm talking about language here. I'm not talking about meaning. What kinds of words does the author use? Are they specific or general? They are straight to the point. لا ده يعني مظبوطين. Are they specific or general? Are they emotional or neutral? And if you are, as a writer, you are neutral, فأنت you are neutral. يعني you are not siding with any. Exactly. Thank you, yes, Ilwan. You are not being you are not being biased. انت مش متحيز. Okay. What else? Are the words and the language that he used common and familiar, or scholarly and unfamiliar? Okay, you can say it's halfway in between. It's halfway in between. Somebody will say, what? They are common and familiar. Somebody else will say, no, for me, it's an expert sort of scholarly what? Language. حلو قوي. Does the author use figurative language? Yes, analogy. And that was, if you still remember, فاكرين the rhetorical what? The rhetorical effect. برافو عليكم. طيب الرايتر لما كتب جملة زي كده, when the writer wrote a sentence like the pace of human caused extinction has only increased in the past several hundred years, is the author sentence structure simple or complex? Zainab said now, Mr. It's a bit complex. Mr. It's simple. It's halfway in between. You understand? But for me, of what sort of complex? Does the author write long sentences or short sentences? Does the author present a balanced view of the subject, which is very important? And I want you to write this question, by the way. Does the author present a balanced view? What does that mean? You feel he is not supporting some people rather than supporting others. You got the point. That's does the author present a balanced view? هو بيتكلم, as somebody said in the beginning, he's just giving information. He's quite informative. That passage is quite informative. When we read, how do you know it? Neutral, that's fine. And you go to the other paragraph and you say here, human activity is also altering the climate as a whole. And you go to this paragraph if you want to make sure about it. Whenever, the last one here, the Anthropocene is judged to have begun, its impact is undeniable. Human activity has changed. Okay, for me, he is having, or he is presenting a sort of balanced what? View. وجهة نظر متزنة. What kinds of details, reasons, and evidence does the author include in order to support his argument? Okay, very quickly while you are doing this, you go to the middle of the paragraphs and you say what? Statistics, example, scientific whatever, scientific experiments, something like that. Example, perfect. If you answered these questions honestly, you will be able to figure out the author's tone or the author's attitude. Hopefully my idea is clear. Generally speaking, writers' attitude or tone tend to fall into two broad categories. Writers' attitude or tones. Writer attitude or tones fall into two broad categories. What are they? And I want people to draw this table. There are only two. Okay? First one, the tone or the attitude, either formal and objective, موضوعي, formal and objective, or informal and subjective. Okay, formal and objectives, and I want you to write here, writers tend to use longer, more complex vocabulary or high level vocabulary, and a third, remember this, a third person point of view, like maybe they, yeah, but no reference to I or you. Okay, that's one. The other one is informal and subjective. Here, simple writers tend to use descriptive and emotional language. That's why the language is informal and subjective. They are not using their judgment, their good judgment. They are using their emotional whatever responses. Hopefully you understand. Question number 12, we have done it. The author's tone is best described as, of course, a concerned observer. What does mean concerned? He cares a lot. An observer, he knows everything. He's quite informative. He can observe and give the information in the right way. Then we are left with, what is the main purpose of the passage? Or the main purpose of the passage is to, if you feel you still have a problem, what you need to do, ya Mazen, you need to go back to the introduction and then you read the conclusion. If it is short, of course, we talked about this before. Maybe these are the two parts that we should maybe read for a second time, okay? The main purpose, let us go for A. Respond to the controversial claims made by rival like competitors. Of course, no. Scientists argue for potential solutions to the problem posed by climate change. وكأني أنا بتكلم only about the climate change, not the human activity. Of course, no. C. Describe the human influence on Earth's environment. Yes. And the last one, account for. Well, I want people to write account for means what? Means explain. Account for recent changes in global biodiversity. We're not talking about the global biodiversity as a general what? As a general idea or a general purpose of what? Of the passage. Hopefully you understand my point, okay? Any questions? So again, and I'll say it for the last time in order not to be misunderstood, this strategy or method, call it whatever you want to call, is for those people who run out of time. If you feel like you mastered this method, you can do it with every passage, go ahead. You are the one who's going to judge. If you can do it and you can get 8 out of 10 or 8 out of 11, so that's perfect. Just go on, use it, okay? And when you use it, you will never, believe me, you will never consume your energy, you will never consume your time, okay? You'll never do that, okay? Thank you very much.